He never speaks, but his actions scream calculation. Claude's first flash of intelligence comes during Give Me Liberty. When the Colombian cartel ambushes the prison transport, he doesn't just run. He uses the chaos to escape, links up with 8-Ball, and drops himself directly into Liberty City's criminal underworld. The one place he needs to be to set revenge in motion against Catalina. Later, working for Donald Love, Claude carries out one of GTA's coldest tactical plays, assassinating Kenji Kaisen while disguised as a cartel hitman during Wakagashira wipeout. The result? An all-out war between the Yakuza and the Colombian cartel, while Claude walks away paid and unnoticed. It's opportunism at its sharpest, but it also burns his bridge with the Yakuza, proving that his smartest moves always carry a cost. But Claude's most brilliant con happens outside GTA 3 in San Andreas. After losing a street race to CJ in Farewell My Love, Claude doesn't hand over his prized ZR350. Instead, Catalina gives CJ the deed to the Doherty garage. On paper, it looks like a prize. In reality, it's a crumbling money pit that costs CJ thousands before it's usable. By the time CJ realizes, Claude and Catalina are already gone, heading for Liberty City and laughing all the way. Claude may not be the one making grand plans, but his genius lies in execution. He seizes openings, plays roles to perfection, and always makes sure he's the one walking away clean. That's execution IQ, and it cements Claude as smarter than his silence suggests. In Vice City, bullets build empires, but Tommy built his with patience. After the opening drug deal ambush in the Beginning, Tommy knows he's been set up. Through Colonel Cortez's investigations and Lance Vance's intel, the pieces point straight at Ricardo Diaz as the traitor. Instead of rushing in for revenge, Tommy keeps his cool. He plays loyal, works under Diaz, and learns the structure of the operation from the inside, waiting for the moment when Diaz least expects betrayal. That moment arrives in Rubout. With Diaz convinced Tommy is his trusted lieutenant, Tommy storms the mansion, guns him down, and instantly claims it as the Vercetti estate. In one strike, he eliminates the traitor, seizes Diaz's empire, and cements his foothold in Vice City's criminal ladder. Tommy's patience doesn't stop there. With Sonny Forelli, the boss who sent him south, Tommy strings him along with excuses and false promises. He sends fake tribute payments, buys time to grow his own empire, and prepares for the inevitable confrontation. By the time Sonny arrives in Keep Your Friends Close, Tommy's untouchable, armed, fortified, and ready to cut his old boss down in his own mansion. Tommy doesn't just react to opportunities, he engineers them. His empire isn't built on luck, but on timing, knowing when to wait, when to strike, and when to lie to his enemies' faces. That's long con IQ in its purest form. CJ starts naive, but by San Fierro, he's running operations like a tactician. To take down Big Smoke's crack empire, CJ infiltrates the Loco Syndicate, the drug network supplying smoke. He plays dumb muscle for Jizzy B. In Pimping and Ice Cold Killa, gains the trust of enforcer T-Bone Mendez, escorts shipments in Outrider, rescues the Syndicate's brain Mike Torino in Interdiction, and later shoots down his supposed helicopter in Torino's last fight. By the time he flips the script in Pier 69, CJ has mapped the entire organization and dismantles it piece by piece, taking down Jizzy, T-Bone, and eventually Torino's supposed helicopter. But the Syndicate was only his warm-up. In Black Project, CJ pulls off one of GTA's most legendary heists, breaking into Area 69, a top-secret military facility. Under cover of night, he uses the control tower to unlock blast doors, slips through vents when alarms trigger, and battles squads of armed soldiers until he reaches the underground lab. There, he seizes a $60 million prototype jetpack and escapes into the desert skies. From street hustler to covert operator, CJ proves his intelligence through logistics and patience. He doesn't just charge head-on. He infiltrates, dismantles, and escapes with military secrets. That's operational IQ, and it elevates him to one of the smartest protagonists Rockstar ever wrote. Liberty City promised a new life. Niko used it to settle an old score. When he arrives in America, Niko's real mission isn't wealth. It's justice. Out of 15 men in his wartime unit, only 3 survived. Niko, Florian Kravik, later known as Bernie Crane, and Darko Breivik. Convinced one betrayed them, Niko spends GTA 4 leveraging every connection to uncover the truth. Instead of killing blindly, Niko uses leverage as currency. With Ray Boccino, he refuses to keep working unless Ray helps locate Florian. Ray folds, and Niko finally confronts Florian in Portrait of a Killer. Niko shows restraint. He listens, realizes Florian wasn't the traitor, and spares him. The real breakthrough comes through his dealings with the United Liberty paper contact. By completing covert jobs in missions like Wrong is Right and Portrait of a Killer, Niko earns his biggest favor. Darko Breivik is secretly flown into Liberty City and delivered to him. In that special someone, Niko is given a choice: execute Darko or leave him broken. Whether player or protagonist, the brilliance lies in the fact that Niko secured closure not through brute force, but through patience, favors, and negotiation with powerful institutions. And Niko's intelligence isn't just in who he kills, it's in what he sees. Unlike Roman or Brucey, Niko isn't blinded by the American dream. In a quiet dialogue, he strips the illusion bare. The burgers, the opportunities, the plastic promises. He knows America is just another lie, and that awareness is his sharpest weapon. Niko's genius is leverage IQ. He trades blood for favors, trades favors for truth, and proves that sometimes the smartest move is refusing to pull the trigger. The Lost MC was chaos on wheels. Johnny tried to turn it into a business. While Billy Gray was locked in rehab, Johnny acted president and made peace with their sworn rivals, the Angels of Death. He even sacrificed Billy's bike as a truce token, avoiding a war and keeping the club focused on money instead of body counts. For a brief moment, it was stability, until Billy's release shattered it, forcing Johnny back into a cycle of pointless violence. Johnny's sharpest survival play comes when two dirty cops catch him and Jim stealing bikes. They demand cash for silence, blackmail for life. Instead of folding, Johnny flips the situation. In Buyer's Market, he lures the cops to Actor Industrial Park, where the Lost ambush them. The would-be extortion turns into a short firefight, and Johnny eliminates the threat before it can strangle the chapter forever. Johnny's intelligence was real. His circumstances weren't. He saw the angles, kept rivals at bay, and even cut off cops who could have owned him. But no amount of survival IQ could save him from Billy's recklessness or Trevor's brutality later in Los Santos. Luis played bodyguard, but in the end he saved the entire empire. As Toni Prince's right-hand man, Luis was often underestimated. Muscle with a short fuse. But his sharpest moves came when Ray Bulgarin turned Liberty City upside down over the diamonds. After the botched Charge Island exchange, Bulgarin ordered hits on anyone tied to the deal. With Rocco Pelosi pressuring him to whack Toni for survival, Luis pretends to go along. In Not So Fast and Party's Over, he flips the plan, cutting down Rocco's men and refusing to betray his mentor. The payoff comes in the finale, Departure Time. Luis storms the airport while Bulgarin prepares to flee. Fighting through mercenaries, he boards the plane mid-takeoff. Bulgarin himself emerges with a live grenade, threatening mutual destruction. Luis doesn't flinch. He fires anyway, kills Bulgarin, and parachutes to safety as the jet explodes over the ocean. That's precision under pressure. Luis kept Toni alive, dismantled Bulgarin's empire, and secured their business. Proving he wasn't just a bodyguard, but the strategist who saved Gay Tony's entire world. Chinatown Wars begins with betrayal. Huang survives it with brains. After flying into Liberty City to deliver the Yuuzhan sword to his Uncle Kenny, Huang is ambushed, shot, and dumped into the water. Presumed dead, he claws his way out and realizes the family heirloom has been stolen. At first, Huang plays the role of a pampered triad heir. But beneath the arrogance, he shows real cunning. His greatest smart move comes at the end, piecing together that Uncle Kenny himself orchestrated the ambush, ordered the theft of the Yuuzhan, and tried to have Huang killed. By exposing Kenny as the true traitor and eliminating him in Salt in the Wound, Huang avenges his father and proves that beneath the spoiled exterior is a calculating survivor. That's deception IQ, using half-truths, fake leads, and eventual clarity to turn a setup into a victory. Most GTA protagonists run from death. Michael staged his own. Back in North Yankton, Michael cut a secret deal with FIB agent Dave Norton. In exchange for betraying his old crew, Michael faked his death, secured witness protection, and resurfaced in Los Santos with a mansion, a new name, and a family. The move shattered his bond with Trevor, but it was a cold survival play that gave Michael a second life. His sharpness shows again when Simeon Yetarian sends Franklin to repo Jimmy's SUV in Complications. Michael hides in the back seat, gun ready. He forces Franklin to drive straight through Simeon's dealership window, ending Simeon's scam in one stroke. In a single move, Michael neutralizes a predator and gains Franklin's respect. Later, Michael engineers a completely different kind of empire. Through Solomon Richards, he becomes a movie producer in Meltdown and the Vinewood Arc. For once, it's not about blood. It's about legacy. Even his son Jimmy, usually resentful, admits he's proud at the premiere. And GTA Online confirms it wasn't fleeting. A decade later, Franklin mentions Michael is still working in Vinewood.
Man, shit, I know one of the producers around here. I hope his ass ain't at work today.
Michael's IQ lies in reinvention. He fakes death to survive, flips small-time hustlers on their heads, and builds a career in the one world he actually loves. That's not luck. That's a man who knows when to burn the past and script his own future. Franklin's smartest move wasn't a heist. It was a handshake. After repo man jobs for Simeon Yetarian, Franklin meets Michael during Complications. Michael jokes about grabbing a drink sometime, a throwaway line most would ignore. Franklin doesn't. In Father-Son, he shows up at Michael's house, takes him up on the offer, and sets himself on a path from street hustler to high-stakes player. From there, Franklin proves himself the stabilizer in Michael and Trevor's chaos. In missions like Blitz Play and The Big Score, he acts as the mediator, grounding arguments, steering focus, and keeping the operations on track when egos clash. It's not just muscle, it's people management. Years later, Franklin cashes in on that same instinct. In GTA Online's The Contract DLC, he's running F. Clinton & Partner, a high-end agency solving problems for celebrities and moguls. With clients like Dr. Dre, Franklin shows that his greatest intelligence wasn't in one score. It was in turning one connection into a lifelong network. That's social leverage IQ. Franklin saw opportunity in a half-serious invitation, turned it into mentorship, and built a legacy business that outlived the chaos of Los Santos. Trevor looks unhinged, but under the chaos, he sees everything. For nearly a decade, Trevor believed Brad Snyder was rotting in prison, writing letters back and forth. But in Bury the Hatchet, his instincts catch the cracks. He realizes Michael's story doesn't add up, drives to Ludendorff, digs up Brad's grave, and exposes the lie. Michael had betrayed him in North Yankton, and Brad was dead all along. Trevor's fury was wild, but his deduction was razor sharp. That same instinct saves his life in GTA Online's early Series A funding heist. Meeting a supposed buyer, Trevor instantly notices something's off. The buyer knows his name and what's being sold. Details Trevor never revealed. It's a sting. Without hesitation, Trevor dives off a cliff into the water as agents open fire, vanishing before they can close the net. And then there's Hood Safari. Franklin and Lamar are ready to hand over cash for what looks like a brick of coke. Trevor isn't fooled. He demands a cut from the other side of the package, exposes drywall inside, and saves the crew from being ripped off or killed in Grove Street. Trevor's intelligence is raw instinct. No calculations, no patience. Just survival at its purest. It's why he's dangerous, unpredictable, and, in his own way, brilliant. In Liberty City, Toni survived by being useful and invisible. After spending 4 years in hiding for killing a made man, Toni returns to Liberty City Stories and slips right back into the Leone family. His loyalty to Salvatore Leone is unshakable, but Toni's intelligence shows best in rough justice. When Salvatore is jailed, Toni disguises himself as his lawyer, Lionel, and walks straight into the police station. By posing as a harmless legal rep, Toni gains access to his boss without raising suspicion. In a city where crooked cops and rival mafias circle like sharks, this move proves Toni can think beyond violence, using deception to serve the family. The truth is, Toni isn't a grand strategist like Tommy or CJ. He's a soldier, carrying out orders and keeping Salvatore's empire alive through sheer reliability. But that disguise, that moment of slipping out of the radar, is pure survival IQ. The brain power of a man who knows how to live another day in a city where loyalty is usually a death sentence. Victor wasn't meant to be a gangster, but when pushed, he learned to lead. At the start of Vice City stories, Vic is a soldier trying to provide for his family, but his corrupt superior, Sergeant Jerry Martinez, ropes him into smuggling drugs. When Martinez betrays him and gets him dishonorably discharged, Vic is forced into the criminal world. His smartest turning point comes in Taken Over. With encouragement from Louise Cassidy Williams, Vic stops running errands for crooked bosses and takes over Marty J. Williams' trailer park gang. By seizing Marty's rackets, Vic plants the first flag for the Vance crime family, building his own empire instead of propping up someone else's. Vic's intelligence shines brightest at the finale. In Last Stand, he finally cuts out Martinez and the Mendez brothers. By doing so, Vic removes 3 major threats at once. He avenges Louise, settles his debt to Ricardo Diaz, and frees himself and Lance from endless manipulation. Victor's genius is independence IQ. He started as a pawn, first for the army, then for Martinez. But by seizing power, founding his own family, and killing the men who used him, Vic proves he's more than a prologue death in Vice City. He's a strategist who built something of his own, however short-lived.